But that has been everything that I think we've all been playing and watching. And I think it is time to move on to our second segment, which, of course, is the patch notes.
Yeah.
Also, before we get there,
Yes, before we get there.
I looked at Yee's 8 Lacrimosa of Dana. Okay, it's a 37.5-hour game. So if you can get through 37.5 hours of that game, I will play Minecraft.
Okay, well, I have Tuesday off.
There you go. It's 24 hours right there.
You get a good chunk of it out. You can get 3/4 of it out at least.
I mean, I'd rather like have Harv try to beat the first 3 dungeons in Persona 5, but whatever. Moving on.
I will do that. I would do that gladly.
Moving on.
I love that game.
Okay. We're gonna go straight into this book of Beppo is insane.
Yeah.
We're gonna move straight into the patch notes. Go ahead, Frank.
Tell that dinner to shut up. So this week, I actually didn't write the news this week. I'm gonna give all the credit to Fee. Fee did an insanely good job. I had to go buy a new computer. I have a new computer. It's currently sitting in the other room right now. We'll talk about that later. But thank you, Fee, again for writing the news for me this week. You saved my ass. But our first article this week comes from Eurogamer, and that is the Resident Evil showcase. Who did you, Mar? Did you actually watch the showcase?
Yeah, I watched it with who? What was your question?
Oh no, I was just asking. So yeah, let me go ahead and read this here. So Capcom kept us all on edge in our seats as they started off the conference with a new RE Village trailer. Can I get an Ethan Winters? A Village demo will be available on all platforms: PS5, PS4, Stadia, Steam, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S. Only available on May 2nd. You can check out the Village or Castle areas, or even both, but you only have 60 minutes. Actually, this is very similar to the RE2 one-shot demo. Instead of if I remember correctly, you only got about 60 seconds or 60 minutes on that original demo. Mario is not here, so we can't confirm that. Did you either of you play anybody play the RE2 one-shot? No.
Oh, wait,
I
no.
did.
I did not.
You did? Do
Yeah.
you remember? Because I remember you could only it was a
It's
speedrun
30
thing.
minutes.
It was only 30 minutes.
minutes of whatever you did, and that was really it.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. So here we go. We also got a look at their Capcom's new competitive multiplayer, Resident Evil REverse. That will also be available for free for Village owners. And there were also a number of other reveals, such as a new CGI Netflix series releasing in July of 2021, following the story of Leon and Claire, and a couple years after RE4. By the way, Leon should really stop being a bodyguard to presidents. If you've seen the trailer for that,
Yeah.
because he's not very good at it.
I think this is actually that same president, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
So
It's
is it
somebody's dad, right?
is it? So here's the thing. I didn't really pay attention. So it's Ashley Graham's
they
dad.
mentioned it.
Yeah,
they mentioned
I'm
that in
I'm
the-
99% sure. Like, this is after Resident Evil 4 and before RE6, because you know what happens in RE6.
So here's the thing. That president's different in RE6, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong.
I thought
If I'm wrong, listen to me.
the same guy.
So I think that president from RE4 steps down before Resident Evil 6, and the Resident Evil 6 president isn't Ashley Graham's dad.
Oh.
It's a different president.
Then I was wrong.
So
My apologies.
Resident Evil 6 has U.S. President Adam Bedford.
yeah, Bedford. He's not President Graham.
Got it. But this one is the one, the movie version, the one that
Yeah.
they have now is the one that is Ashley.
Yeah, Ashley's dad. Okay, that makes sense. I didn't catch that, but thank you for telling me that. And then we also have a live action movie. Welcome to Raccoon City is wrapping up production. It's still to be announced. I still have no idea what.
They're finishing up the CGI here in Vancouver.
The monsters, is that as they said.
Yeah.
But we already have a date already, which was it was pushed to.
It was weird, right? Because they said
Yeah.
they didn't have a date. That they're gonna say they're gonna release a date soon, but like
Yeah,
the date's already been out in November, I think, right? Because it was September, and then they
it's Thanksgiving.
delayed it.
It's
Yeah.
Thanksgiving now, yeah. Which I don't know. All right.
Yeah, I still don't know what this movie is. Is it like we're still confused? I think we talked about this a few weeks back. If you want to get our thoughts on that, go ahead and watch that. But yeah, it's still very confusing on what this movie is.
Other than it's combining the first two games, that's all we know. We don't know how.
Yeah, it's very weird. And then we also, and this is my favorite announcement of the whole thing, Resident Evil is coming to Dead by Daylight, and more details will be announced on a Dead by Daylight kind of their own little, I don't know what you would call their own little conference, quote unquote.
They have like little
on May
directs.
25th. Yeah, they have their
sometimes,
small little directs, and that'll be on May 25th as well. I'm hyper excited about that. I don't know who they would choose to be the killer. They have plenty of different people who could be survivors. If they're looking to tie it in with RE8, it's probably going to be Lady D and, Ethan. But I doubt it for some reason. But we'll see. We'll see.
I was having a discussion with Fee, and I was like, okay, I hope it's Mr. X. I really
want it to be Mr. X too.
That or Nemesis would be really cool.
Nemesis,
so
yes.
It would be cool to have those, but from what I understand, there's actually like lore to why these people are selected.
Mhm.
And for the most part, those two creatures are like robotic, like automatons that don't have like a directive, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
So it has to be somebody with a personality, like a Birkin or something.
Yeah, it could be.
But
So
like, how do
that's
you
a good one too, actually.
Oh, yeah, I guess you could do Birkin.
It could be William Birkin, because William Birkin does die. A lot of the killers that are within that universe, except for I believe the Huntress, because it's never confirmed that she's dead.
No, they never confirmed it. She entered the mist in the Black Forest, and then she ended up at the campfire.
Yeah,
Birkin would be interesting, but like, what stage of Birkin would you get?
It would be stage 3 Birkin, right before he turns into like weird globby, ground beef Birkin. He can be, or Nemesis. Nemesis gives a lot of opportunities because he has tentacles. He can punch, stuff like that. Like I doubt they would give him guns. They wouldn't give him guns.
Mr. X so bad.
Mr. X would be fun.
That would make me want to play Dead by Daylight just because Mr. X would be in it.
Who would you want to be a survivor?
I would like Claire.
Ashley Graham.
Or Ashley Graham. Yeah.
Ashley would be a good one.
Yeah.
Sherry would be another good one.
Even Chris Redfield would be fine too.
Which version of Chris Redfield would you want? Would you want like skinny stars Chris Redfield or jacked as fuck?
No, it'd be the younger version, I think, because I feel like that would fit the aesthetic better than having a jacked Chris Redfield. Because I'd be like, you know what? I could just fuck you up.
Chris Redfield just punching boulders. He doesn't care. All the stuff on the thing, there's no looping anymore. He's just punching his way through the map. The door he doesn't even need power for the door. He just punches open the door.
Like this. Just rips it open.
Yeah. The only thing I could specifically think that they might go with the vampire lady, because they typically go like female male when it comes to murderers, and they just released the newest edition, who is the K-pop, I'm not going to say the specific word people have been calling him, it's a K-pop idol.
From what I've heard from a lot of people, he's the hot Joker version of Yeah, he looks essentially
there's a lot of
like
thirst.
a TOP cover, like a mix between TOP and every single guy from BTS in the best way possible. So yeah, really great choices, guys. They did really well on him, even though it's creepy as hell. But yeah, they might go with her just because of timing. It would probably make the most sense, even though I know there's a ton of great people in our Resident Evil, but I think that might make the most sense time wise. Also, they seem to have like a whole thing about like tall women in that game, because you have people like the Huntress, the Plague, oh my god, what is her name? A few.
The Huntress is pretty tall.
The Huntress is pretty tall. I was just trying to think of survivor wise. There's a lot of taller women, so it might just go with the brand.
I want the merchant.
What are you buying?
I just want him to go. What are you buying? What are you selling?
That'll be the survivor who just walks around and he's just like, "What are you buying?"
What's your favorite merchant?
Him.
What are you buying?
I think this new one is probably the 4 one. Resident Evil 4 had one, right?
Yeah, RE4 originated that.
Yeah. I think 4 is one of my favorite, but this new one 8 looks pretty good too. Not gonna lie.
My favorite thing is when you sell him an RPG, he just goes, "Stranger, well, that's a weapon," and I'm like, "Whoa, dude, you need to chill out, bud. All right, you're getting a little too into this."
Yeah.
But speaking of RE4, There was one more surprise announcement at the end of the presentation, and that was Resident Evil 4 is getting technically remade, not necessarily remade, but it is getting reworked to be worked on the to play on the Oculus Quest 2. I don't know the details on this or whether or not it is exclusive to the Oculus Quest 2, or if you have a previous Quest 1 or a Rift S, if that is available to those owners as well, or if you can maybe move that over to like maybe a Vive or an Index. But yeah, Resident Evil is coming to VR in a first person perspective. Mario Mario just phantom out of Buca de Beppo. Just disappeared.
One thing
He had to go to the kitchen, guys.
Yeah, he's got to go take the kitchen tour.
one thing I found it weird was they went from Resident Evil 7, which was VR compatible, and then they decided not to do that with 8, but then they moved it to Resident Evil 4, which was a weird jump. And it's currently only available on the Oculus, and there's no say as to if it's going to be coming over to PlayStation.
Yeah, because I know Facebook Labs is working on that, so that would explain the exclusivity.
Yeah.
Mario just this is the cat. This is the pet cast. I have a cat here. Mario has a dog.
Hera's
Say
over
hi.
there.
Hera is not in frame. Harv has his tub of water.
See, Sly and I are on the same boat. We're on the same boat here.
I love my water. I do wish they would have add some more details to RE4 VR. It does looks very dated in my opinion. But we'll see. I'm definitely gonna play the crap out of it.
There's a reason why I think they didn't show RE4 there. It's because they would have overshadowed RE8.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah.
Do you think
it's probably good that they didn't show it?
Do you still think there's a RE4 full ground up remake in the works? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so too.
But honestly, where people were looking for it, wanting it there, that game's not coming out to like from what the leak said for like their whole thing that they had, their whole plan got leaked for the next 10 years or some shit, right? It's like it's supposed to be like 2023 or something like that. 2023, I think is what the year was for that. So that's too early, anyways.
Yeah, it's way too early. I think it's probably still if it is being produced right now, still probably in pre-production.
Yeah,
early concept.
I'd announce that next year, if anything, which would probably be either if you want to announce it maybe at E3 this year, or you announce it next year at E3. One of the two things.
Yeah, Capcom's super good with their announcements, though. I think they're gonna wait. They're gonna keep it close to their chest until it's closer to release date, because usually they announce their games about a year out. You know what I mean? It's usually a year from when their announcement, stuff like that.
Keep all the eyes on Resident Evil 8 because that's the game that's coming out in less than a month. Keep everybody like engaged and excited for that game.
Yeah, keep the thirst trap real. You know?
Exactly.
Honestly, my thought process was they weren't going to be showing it because their competitive game that they have currently coming online looks too much like Resident Evil 4 quality-wise. And that, that is me taking a jab at Capcom because
it doesn't look good.
It didn't. It
doesn't.
It literally looks like they took Evil 4. They put a reskin, like just a slight reskin enough.
Are you talking about Mercenaries or
the online one that you and I had a discussion about? The one that
RE-verse.
Yeah, RE-verse.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That looks the weird battle royale thing that they have. Yeah,
right?
looks whack. Okay, your hair whack. Your gear whack.
I was prepared to throw hands, Harv, because I know for a fact you and I agreed with the fact that it looked janky.
It looks janky AF, dude. When they showed that in the presentation, it's like, why show this?
Why do they keep giving free?
You just showed Resident Evil 8, which looks beautiful. And then you show that looks like a mobile game a little bit. Like what? No, that's very, very bad.
Mario,
that's yeah.
Whenever I want to talk, the dogs just go start barking. So I'll try to get this out. It was weird that the VR thing was not in the presentation. It was something after the fact.
Yeah.
Totally bizarre.
It's what I said. Like I think your headphones were off when I said it, but I think they did that because they did not want to overshadow the Resident Evil 8 stuff. Because Resident Evil 8 is the thing that's coming out next.
Yeah, for sure.
And they'll do Resident Evil 4 and stuff probably when E3 rolls around now because this game comes out in about a month. So
yeah, exactly. And I'm curious. I'm happy about my purchase. A couple of weeks ago when I bought the VR headset. But I'm excited for everything. Limmy Dimitrescu, which is apparently how you pronounce it. It was awesome. I'm very excited. And now there's a dog humping a cat. This book in the Beppo is insane.
Sly, what do you think about Resident Evil? What's your Resident Evil? Where are you on the temperature scale?
0 cares. I am not invested. I haven't played a single Resident Evil. It's not my vibe.
Yeah,
I don't
no, it's
care.
fair. It's fair. It's fair. I just hope this game has the tension that Resident Evil 2 had. I hope that. From what I've seen, it doesn't feel like it does, but the story looks really freaking good.
So on my screen,
There we go.
the stream messed up, and I think I saw Sombra. Did Sombra hack our fucking stream? Is that what's going on here? Is this now an Overwatch ARG?
Always.
Always.
No,
But,
I think Harv, I think you're like, yeah, I think it's gonna deliver. At least the demo, just sound wise, they're definitely utilizing Sony's new like 3D audio technology, but just the sound of that game is like crazy good. Like you would hear like clanking in the background and stuff like that.
I want good puzzles. I want a good story. That's kind of all I want really out of this. The other stuff I hope for when it comes to like the tension and like because Resident Evil is good when it's claustrophobic, when you have that feeling claustrophobic, right?
Exactly.
When you're in a mansion, you're in a police department, you're in a house like in Resident Evil 7, right? And I feel like I hope that the castle, I think it's called the castle, right?
Yeah.
That's what they call it.
There's a castle and I think there's a village as well.
Yeah.
There's
I'm
two
hoping
settings.
the castle has that feeling to it. I really do. Because I know the village is going to be a little bit more open, kind of like Resident Evil 4 a little bit, I feel. But I'm hoping that the castle at least gives you that feeling where like, oh man, if I run somewhere, I'm not safe, kind of type thing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited. I'm honestly excited.
Yeah, I'm very stoked for this. I love Resident Evil, man. Resident Evil, it's like one of my favorite series. So
I love me some Resident Evil, man.
Same.
I love horror games. We don't get enough of them. The problem is like we're very deprived of horror games to the point where like it happens every 2 or 3 years. We'll get a good horror game. I mean,
but honestly, Resident Evil has done really well the last couple of years. 3 was, take it or leave it, 3 was a decent game. Wasn't great, but it was decent. But 2 and 7 kind of give me hope in what direction they're going.
Yeah, this is definitely made by Capcom's A team, whereas like 3, I hate to say it, sorry guys, but it was made by a B team and they didn't do too well with it.
Well, it came out so quickly after 2, right? Like that, I was so when I heard that 3 was coming out, like not even a year, I think it was like 9 months or something like that after 2 came out or something. And I was so surprised at that. I was like, that turnaround was crazy then. But I guess they were working on them at the same time, so that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's it for our little Resident Evil discussion. Fee is actually going to take it away with our next article here. Fee, go ahead and do your thing.
Hello. Well, Resident Evil and Capcom wasn't the only particular group that had a presentation this week. Nintendo did their Indie World Showcase on Thursday, which was honestly really exciting. Nintendo wrapped up its latest Indie World Showcase with over 20 new titles. We saw a great mixture of different genres, art styles, and play styles as well. They made sure that there was a game for everyone at this particular conference. Some of the highlights, and they actually started off with this particular game, which was Road 96, which players will venture through 148,268 potential storylines depending on how you play the game, and this comes out later on this year. The next is the Longing from Studio Sevs. I absolutely apologize for butchering that name. It is a folklore-inspired game of a servant waiting for his king for 400 days. Real time.
The 400 days in real time. This game the character looks creepy, but from what I've seen, he looks like a Dobby.
Yeah.
He looks like Dobby in a way, and he's waiting for his master for 400 days.
This it reminded me of like a Tim Burton wet dream, and I don't want to play it.
Valid.
Excuse me?
it
The
just
fact that the premise is like you have to play it for like forever. I'm just like,
okay.
okay, I'm good.
it definitely looked creepy. I watched a little bit. I think it was Crafty was playing it, and I was on edge. It was uneasy to say the least. But yeah, you slowly go through the catacombs, and by slowly I mean the guy walks very slowly. You complete some puzzles, and you honestly contemplate existence and why you're playing this game. However, once the 400 days are up, who knows what happens?
That one, what is it like? Don't they have a film out, or like John Malkovich or something like that have a film where like it'll get released like 60 years from now or something like that?
John Malkovich shot a film apparently for I think either a car company or a drink. I'm not sure, but yeah, supposedly in a millennia or 100 years is when it'll be released.
Yeah.
Wow. Some other kind of shout outs. There was Aerial Knight's Never Yield, which is made by a small company actually in Detroit, and it actually looks really great. I really like the particular concept of this game because it was made by a group who they were not accepted by the gaming industry where they were, so they decided to make their own little spot, which is awesome. My goodness, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge comes out later this year, and many more games. And they also ended off the conference with a surprise, which was Oxenfree 2 The Lost Signal, which we got to see a little bit of that, which is really exciting for the Oxenfree fans. My question for each and every one of you is, what did you think of the event, and what were you guys excited for? I'm going to start off by asking Mario.
Yes, honestly, I'm sad you left it off, but Fez, which is one of my favorite games of all time, I'm happy that it's coming out for the Switch. I bought it immediately.
Awesome.
Of course. Yeah. And yeah, sorry, dog is talking to me. Okay. And I'm very much excited because I'm a huge fan of Oxenfree. Love it. Can't believe I'm getting a direct sequel. That's insane.
Yeah.
And yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I love the game on the 360. I know it's it was a remake or remaster or whatever. Happy there's a whole new version of that. So super excited for those.
Awesome. And Harv, what did you think of? What were you excited for?
I mean, I like the presentation. It was good because they did a really good job with it. The only part I didn't like is like that last part where they just showed games and they didn't say anything. Where Fez was involved, right? Like they didn't say anything about it, right? They just kind of put it into like a montage. But my most exciting game out of this is TMNT because I love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games. I just love them so much because I remember playing the NES version as when I was a kid, and I played that thing nonstop with my friend. But I am really, really excited for that. Other than that, like everything else was kind of like they're cool indie games, like really, really cool indie games. And the Switch just it's still a powerhouse for indie games.
Valid.
Still a huge powerhouse for indie games, which is really, really good to see.
I honestly, I was thinking that you were gonna say that you were like excited for Getsufuma Den because I still think this is definitely your type of game.
There's one other one that was on there, but you didn't put on Skull something.
Yes, Skull, the one where you replace the heads.
Yes, that one I'm really excited about because that gives me Dead Cell vibes, and that game looks freaking awesome. Yeah. It looks really, really good. So I think that one I'm most excited for is Skull.
Shout out also to Aerial Knight, who put his Twitter handle in the title of his game. That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Also, I definitely apologize in advance for the people who are listening who are like, wait, why didn't you list off the game that I was excited for? Here's the thing. There's 20 plus games that were announced, and I think all the games are great. I just wanted to say that before everyone's just like, she didn't say the game that I like, because I just want to clear that up a little bit. Not putting any shade on any of you. I'm just saying that, like, I could have just listed off all the games.
Oh, don't worry. We put shade on you about it, so it's totally.
Yeah, how dare you not pick the game I like?
Not once, but twice. So I'm just putting that out there. If you guys want me to list off video games for an hour, then I'm more than happy to do that. I can just sit here and talk about video games for a straight hour of everything that was released. Honestly, I would probably really enjoy that, but I digress.
Nice.
Thumbs up. So yeah, what how did you feel about the direct, and what are you most excited for, Sly?
Well, I remember seeing Road 96 at a previous something or whatever. I
was,
just
yeah,
know
it
that
was.
it's on my Steam wish list already. So it was really great to see that again. I think that was probably my highlight from the show. I mean, everything looked great, but that's definitely the one that I think would be most up my alley.
Awesome.
But overall, yeah, everything looked great.
Because I do remember seeing that game, Road 96, somewhere
I
else, but
think
I
it was
don't
at the
remember
Game
where it was.
Awards. I'm pretty sure it was at the Game Awards.
Or
You're
one of the
probably-
award
I think
ceremonies.
that was
Yeah.
it.
I think
Yeah,
you're right.
it
The
was
Game Awards.
Game Awards, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I was like, that was the one I was excited for. So when I saw it and heard that it was coming to Switch, I'm like, hell yeah. I'm pretty pumped. And Frank, what are you most excited for?
Probably Road 69. I think
Road
I'm a little.
96.
I almost nodded
Oh,
to
it's
that.
Road 96.
I almost just
okay.
accepted that.
I was going to say
Nice.
nice. No, I that's
we
probably the
get
only
to
game I'm
poker.
really, really super excited about. But the problem is I don't necessarily trust the idea of 148,268 potential stories. I've heard this claim before. We've probably all heard this claim before. Whether or not that means a bunch of random events tied to 3 very distinct endings is up to thing. But I do trust that the game does have some good what's the word for it? What do they call that when the game procedurally generated levels and stuff like that? I'm curious to see how that works. I'm just curious on like if the endings will also be different as well, because we've all seen like games like Walking Dead and like all these other games where like your choices you have a bunch of these choices, but they all end up the almost exact same way.
Yeah.
That's why I was
So-
very excited. Like,
So-
I'm still intrigued about Detroit because I played Detroit Become Human, and it has like that little thing where like the ending could be whatever it is. But I'm in the same boat as you for Road 96. Like, it looks cool, it looks very interesting, but I don't know if I like. There's just something about when somebody says that many numbers for like a permutation of something. Like, is that just like if I say no to something that has no consequence to anything? Is that like a permutation? Does that become a permutation in a way, right?
Mhm.
I'm very hesitant about that.
Yeah.
So when it comes to these games, and specifically this one, because it definitely looks like it's procedurally generated. When it comes to all the different options, I'm trying to remember who said this better than how I'm about to say it, but basically, it's these games. We kind of have to like not think of the fact that yes, there is a defined ending, and there's always going to be a defined ending or defined endings, because Mass Effect has 3 endings. You know, like I think that the way to think about it's the color we add as players, how we perceive and decide to go about the route in which we objectively see the story.
Yeah,
So
it's the journey. It's the journey, right? Not the ending.
Yeah, it's, always,
It's the journey of it.
It's yeah, for sure.
I mean, that goes into why I love Donut games so much. Is that you can inhabit that world for as little or as long as you want to. And you don't have to look at every single thing, but you can. And that just adds more to the world. But it's still, one contained story. And you have like 1 or 2 options that really change the ending.
Especially
But-
Life is Strange 1,
Yeah, I like the ending of Life is Strange 1, I'm not as big on, but I really enjoy that they narrow it down, and at the end of their games it's either this or this. What happened? Like I'm not necessarily big into like the open, like the endings whatever you want it to be. I like when games kind of force you to choose how that is going to end, even if it feels like there's not so much choice.
This is why I liked Last of Us Part 2 at the end, right? Because like this is bringing it back to that is because they told you a story and they gave you that story, and where people thought that you were supposed to have a choice between the two, no, let them choose. Let them make that story, like make the ending for you. The journey is all you, right? Like we were saying, like you take this decision, you take this decision, you take that decision. A lot of people get fixated on the ending of a game, and that is like, oh my god, like my choices didn't mean anything. In the end, the choices did mean something, because maybe you missed an NPC over here, maybe you missed the items over here, maybe you missed something else over there, right? So like in my way was like pretty much, yeah, you summed it up perfectly. Just like it's the journey, and what Mario said too, it's the journey that you guys take, that we take all the way to the end. Let them pick the ending for me, honestly, because I'm in the same boat where like I don't want to sit at a message board and looking at other people's stories and be like, oh, I gotta think about this now.
Yeah, think about this. What is this?
I just spent 30 hours in your game, man. I'm done. The other game that I'm really excited about, that I want to touch on is Labyrinth City, which is a Where's Waldo-esque game. I love the art style of this game. The art style is so good. Because I remember growing up on Where's Waldo books and stuff like that, especially when I was at the doctor's office and stuff like that. So this kind of gets me excited a little bit.
Harv 100% was like one of those highlight kids that had like the highlight magazines.
You've been doing a lot of that too.
I think so.
Isn't that
I
what you've
remember
been
getting
kind
them
of
from
playing?
Scholastic, I think. Yeah.
Harv, isn't that what you kind of been playing anyway on stream with the Geo thing that you've been playing? It's kind of like Where's Waldo?
GeoGuessr?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot that I'm playing GeoGuessr now too, guys. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun until you get a place in none of it, and you're like, "Where the hell am I?" Because everything looks the same, and there are no towns.
I was doing really good when you were doing it.
We don't know because we were not. I have no idea. Because
Yeah,
I was getting false reports from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no proof.
Yeah, there's no proof.
Yeah.
I hate you guys. I just straight up dislike.
Well, speaking of hate, we're not hating on Sony this week because Sony caught a dub. Sony finally caught a dub. This comes from IGN's Adam Bankhurst. In its in its first 5 months on the market, the PlayStation 5 has become the fastest-selling console in U.S. history in both unit and dollar sales, as revealed by the NPD Group's Matt Piscatella. This news arrives 1 month after the PS5 became the fastest-selling console in U.S. history in dollar sales. Despite that new record, the Nintendo Switch has continued to reign as the best-selling hardware platform in both units and dollars during March 2021. However, the PS5 did rank first in hardware dollar sales in Q1 of 2021. Yeah, PlayStations are selling. I don't know where people are getting these PlayStations. I said I would touch on it later. I finally got a computer. The GP. I finally found a Micro Center that had a 3070 pre-built system. I went over there and I copped it. There are people literally lined up outside the door, like already at 4:30 in the afternoon for tomorrow, just to get a chance at getting some GPUs. The reason I bring that up is because for the last 6 months I've been doing Newegg Shuffle, and PS5s have been on there, Xbox Series S's have been on there, GPUs, 3070s and stuff like that. The GPU market is actually getting worse. Getting silicon right now is an absolute pain. I probably don't need to reiterate that because guess what? Every week they say it's getting worse. So
I mean,
I don't know.
When you said last week that it might get better because of all that stuff that's happening, I don't see it getting better at all for this entire year. This entire year is going to watch for this.
I'm definitely losing hope. And if you're out there right now looking for a PS5, Xbox Series S, X, or even a GPU, I would suggest, if you're on the PC front, get it pre-built. Don't worry. Don't try to buy it, a la carte. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. There's too many bots out there. Unless you're camping outside of a Micro Center.
The four of us, me, Sly, Frank, and Mario got. I mean, you two got hooked up.
I don't
you
need
two
a
got hooked
computer.
up.
I'm good.
Yeah, Sly and I, we got lucky with our
with our PS5s.
with our PS5s.
Yeah. We also, and if you're looking for a PS5 or an Xbox Series S, I really would highly recommend looking at the Newegg Shuffle. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but they do seem to have a good amount of quantity. I think I got like 30 notifications last night about Xbox Series S and X's being in stock. So don't give up hope on that front. But at the same time, there's not really much out there for either console to really necessarily have the need to upgrade, unless you're trying to play something like RE8 or Returnal or.
But on that note, though, this article, what do we got?
Yeah, I don't know where they're getting sales. I don't know how they're
Right.
getting these sales. Where are these consoles? The reason I bring that up is because like, where are these consoles coming from? How are they outselling a Switch, which was already kind of popular before the consoles came out? These consoles are not necessarily easy to come by.
It's big, and the crazy thing is this is both. This is also dollar made, which obviously you can see that because this is a $500 console, while the Switch is what $299, right? In the US. So, but it also is unit sales, which is crazy to think about.
Exactly.
I think
It's both.
factor in that is the scarcity. And you know how Nintendo will always try to breed false scarcity to
For the
up their
experts at it.
numbers. That's the thing, is scarcity really does increase sales, because since there's so many people saying it's impossible to get a PS5, if you see one, you're going to buy it. No matter, like, even if you necessarily wouldn't, if you have any sort of thought about trying to get a PS5, if you see one, you will immediately buy it because you don't know when you're going to see it again. And I think the scarcity is really doing them a good deal on selling their consoles, because anytime one is in stock, somebody's going to pick it up thinking it's the last time they're ever going to see it, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Either
And I
that or-
also blame Wario64 because I swear that guy puts out a link and then everyone just has to get it. Like that's how I got a Series S this weekend too, is because of either Nebellion or Wario64.
Yeah, I got one because of Wario 64. That's why I got mine. So, like that's the thing. It's crazy to think about that PlayStation is. I don't feel like PlayStation is doing this on purpose though. This is not a purpose thing. I feel like Nintendo does this a little bit more on purpose than anything else. I think this is just scarcity for parts and stuff like that, right? And I honestly, maybe it's not even COVID related anymore at this point, because China is pretty much out of COVID at this point, from where what their point is. So like, I don't know. I think this is just everybody just wanting it now, just wanting, because like gaming has just increased exponentially in the last like even 5 years, you would call it, right? And now it's just gotten so massive that finding units can be difficult. And when it comes to Xbox, I mean, they're selling pretty well. I'm guessing they're selling pretty well for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing a good stock of those. Definitely seeing a decent stock of Series S's. A lot of Series S's. A little bit less on the Series X side.
But you know what? That's a great thing for PlayStation. It's great.
Good for PlayStation. Good for you guys.
They needed to win this year.
Yeah, they're
for a little bit at least.
At least the business side of PlayStation is working out pretty well, because they, on the customer goodwill side, they're slowly losing it.
Honestly, though, I've been looking at this. I've been looking at this whole thing with PlayStation and the whole thing about big and bigger games and all that kind of stuff. Does the mainstream even care?
No.
That's where I'm at. Do they even
No.
care? When It Last of Us comes out, remastered, people are gonna buy it. When God of War 2 comes out, people are gonna buy it. Horizon Zero Dawn 2 comes out, they're gonna buy it. That's just, I think this is the gaming industry just being like, oh my god, they're doing this. But like when it comes to mainstream people that don't care about that kind of stuff, they're just gonna buy whatever comes out.
Yeah, people who don't follow the industry kind of just buy whatever is kind of out. A lot of the times when I'm at GameStop, I see a lot of people just go in and say, hey, you know, what's the newest game out? Stuff like that. They're not really necessarily, they don't really necessarily know what's going on. There was one guy last week who threw a fit over not being able to find like PlayStation 4 controllers and PlayStation 5 controllers. And we had to explain to him, like, bro, I don't work at GameStop. I was just there. One of the employees was there, and I was just like, bro, we're in a shortage. Like, do you not know that there's a shortage of this stuff? And he's like, there's a shortage of this stuff? And I'm like, where the fuck have you been?
Where have you been?
What rock have you been hiding under?
Did you just come out of a coma? Like, what is this? But no, yeah, a lot of people don't know there's a shortage of these things, and even like you have like moms and dads going in saying, I'm trying to pick up my son a PS5. It's like they're out of stock, man, and you know, it causes a lot of weird issues. But yeah, I don't think people really know. People are really paying attention, honestly.
This is why I think that, dude, whatever they put out, people are going to buy them.
They're looking
are
at the
going to buy
numbers.
them.
They're not looking
Yeah.
at the goodwill of it.
Yeah. I gotta mute myself for a little bit here for a second. So
Yeah, take your time. Everybody's leaving the podcast.
Well,
we've lost another one. In fact, I gotta go use the washroom. I'll be right. No, I'm just playing. No. Instead, we're going to actually take a break here, and we will move to our next article when everybody gets back.